Hey anybody, it's me, and I'm doing another reaction to Volscape, the best Resident Evil movie. Resident Evil Death Island breakdown slash thoughts. This is actually take two. Volscape released this a couple days ago, but YouTube would not let me view it for some reason. I tried a bunch of different stuff and it would load about a minute of it, and I have like partial reactions or whatever. So this isn't necessarily the first time I've seen at least the first minute or so. But YouTube just would not load the rest of it for me, and I don't know what happened. So I gave it a couple of days because I was wondering maybe it was taken down for some weird copyright reason or whatever. Doesn't look like that was the case. Maybe it was just my internet, but anyways, we're gonna go ahead and watch this now.
Over the years, there has been many Resident Evil movies. And most people would say most of them aren't very good. But last night, I
They're fun,
sat down
though.
and watched Resident Evil Death Island. And
Yeah.
I can easily say it's the best Resident Evil movie I've ever seen. It has all the main survivors of Raccoon City teaming up back together. It really feels like you're sitting down and watching a Resident Evil game. And I think all you Jill fans will really like this movie. We finally get to see how Jill was after Resident Evil 5. And Nicole Tompkins finally gets the time to shine as Jill Valentine. And the villain Dylan Blake is very interesting. This movie is very much about the trauma.
I disagree. I don't find him that interesting.
There's a lot of name drops and cameos that a lot of people like. From this point forwards, this is your spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, come back and watch the video later. All right,
let's go, big boy.
Everything about this movie. But these are my thoughts on Resident Evil Death Island. The movie begins with Umbrella soldiers heading into Raccoon City, who are told to save only Umbrella employees and government officials. They are told very specifically not to—
Wait. Umbrella are maybe the bad guys?
save any civilians, and to kill them if they get past.
Who saw that coming?
Attacked and bitten by zombies, and the two healthy ones are ordered to kill them. One of the men followed the order, while the other one begs and tries to find another way. The guy following orders ends up winning the skirmish, and guns down his team, while the other one is on the ground screaming for him to stop. This movie visually is beautiful. I didn't even know it was possible for animated movies to look this good. There are genuinely
I love the
shots
use
in
of
this movie
the
that I thought were real. This
save
is genuinely the
theme,
best lighting I've ever
by the
seen
way.
in any animated movie. But after a very badass opening credits, we meet our main characters.
So the opening credit sequence is badass. I did a watch along, and I commented on how badass it was. What I found funny though is that Rebecca has so little like game footage and footage in general of like things she's been part of that isn't like an old kind of crappy looking game, that for her thing you get part of Claire's in the remakes, Mr. X like opening up the elevator thing right before he gets murked by Birkin, and that was like as part of her intro part, and I found that really funny. It's just like, oh man, they couldn't even find like 3 things for Rebecca. They have like a thing from her in Vendetta, maybe 2 even, and like I guess that's it.
First we meet Leon Sexy Kennedy himself, played by Matt Mercer. This is his last time voicing Leon before he fully passes the torch to Nick Apostolides. Though Nick is my favorite Leon, it's very sad to see Matt Mercer go. He has this really cool motorbike fight scene with Maria returning from—
This fight was so stupid in the right way.
Played by Stephanie Panisello. She's in—
I unfortunately feel like Claire was really underused in this. It's almost like, yeah, there's a lot of fan service and stuff, but like Claire kind of feels like she was forgotten about or whatever. But I mean, it doesn't matter. She's had her time in, what was it? Was it Degeneration, Damnation? Maybe even both. She's had her time to shine, so it's fine. It just, she's forgettable, I think, in this, which is kind of too bad.
Investigating mysterious orca deaths in San Francisco, and she finds traces of the T virus in one of their bodies. Next we meet up with Jill Valentine, played by Nicole Tompkins, who is back working with the BSAA after RE5.
I swear to God, they spent more time on her than anybody else, because her model looks fucking phenomenal in like every single scene, where every now and then all of the other ones have 1 or 2 uncanny valley moments. I'm sure she has a couple too, I just like get lost in her eyes or something.
I think Nicole Tompkins was the perfect choice for post RE5 Jill. Her angry and tired Jill really worked here. You can really tell how she blames herself for what happened in RE5. We first see her refusing to wait for backup.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, I think it was you saying the different versions of Jill or whatever, and how Julia Voth's Jill or like Inez or all of the original ones are kind of like not as battle worn is maybe a way like I'll put it, and Nicole Tompkins is like she's done. She's sick of this shit. It's over or whatever. So I've since you've said that, actually I've had that in the back of my mind of yeah, I think Nicole Tompkins' Jill works really well here, especially for like bringing her back and obviously suffering some major PTSD.
And she does the thing from Infinite Darkness where she turns her flashlight on and off again. I'm sure there's a canon reason of why they do this, I just think it looks goofy. Eventually Jill gets attacked by a zombie and absolutely kicks his ass. Next we meet up with Chris Redfield, voiced by Kevin Dorman, and Rebecca Chambers, voiced by Erin Cahill.
I still think Rebecca's head is too big.
Chris to cut her some slack because of what happened to her in Resident Evil 5. Chris goes to see Jill and asks her to take some time off. She refuses and tells him about what it was like to be mind-controlled by Wesker, telling him it was like a nightmare. In an attempt to relate with Jill, Chris tells her about his nightmare.
There was this guy named Piers. I wanted him to take over after me. I trusted him.
Let me tell you about a guy named Piers.
He fought alongside me, then...
One thing I do appreciate is that everything in this movie feels like fan service, where the main villain replaces, I can't remember his name from the last movie, and like Cartel or whatever, and like he's an ex-Umbrella merc or whatever that took place in Raccoon, so now they have like a good way to show Umbrella again and show like part of Raccoon City, like the very beginning with the sign and everything. Like everything they do in this is down to the like minute detail of you remembering something from the past or from one of their games. And as a fan of all of their games, I really, really love it, but it's so stupid. Like, this is one of the things that's like, oh yeah, this isn't like a film for somebody to watch. This is Resident Evil, like, fan service porn or whatever for us who have been here this whole time. And it's pretty great. Like, just the fact that he's bringing up Piers, which is amazing anyways, because how often does Capcom refer to old characters that aren't the main characters? Like, never, basically. I guess Piers is kind of a main character in his game, but it's really kind of incredible.
He died to save me.
I absolutely love this callback to RE6.
Yeah, it's great.
Capcom are known for just forgetting characters and never using them again, so it's really cool to hear about him. Chris then tells her to not lose who she is in the fight. After this, we meet the villain, Dylan Blake. I'm a big fan of this villain. I'll talk
I'm
more
not.
about him as the video goes
I
on,
think he's
but this
dumb
is a man
and
driven
ridiculous.
by nothing but his trauma. All he has left is his anger and guilt. Jill and Chris meet up with Claire and Rebecca.
But that's fine. I understand where you're coming from.
All of the infected people and animals have been in
I love
or
that
around
shirt.
Alcatraz Island, so everyone instantly rushes over there to investigate. This is where the movie truly starts. I really love the setting of this movie. People in real life think Alcatraz is haunted, so it just makes sense to have a Resident Evil movie set there. And I love how
as somebody who's done the like night tour of Alcatraz, that place has some evil in it, of Resident Evil, if you will. You can like feel the soul's suffering in it or something. It's not a great place. It's not a great place.
dark and gloomy they make the areas.
I really like these annoying influencer guys. I can honestly see someone acting like this if this happened in real life.
It's your boy.
Yo, pan over there! Some dude shot some other dude! You see that? What the...
But finally, all hell breaks loose. I really like the action in this movie because every character gets their time to shine. Claire tries to protect the civilians by barricading them in a room, but a woman gets infected without getting bitten. Jill loses her gun early on, so she has some really cool knife scenes.
Yeah, the CQC is so good. God, that's so fucking vicious,
Night
man.
falls on the island, and we meet some aquatic lickers that feel right out of Revelations. We get another flashback to the Umbrella.
I also
One
thought
of
they
them
were
gets
very
bit, and
Revelations.
surprise, Umbrella tells the other one to kill him. Here at Umbrella, we love our employees. We're back to Chris and Claire, and they're here banging in a cupboard. And inside is none other than Sam Drake from Uncharted 4. Meanwhile, in the sewers, Jill meets none other than Leon S. Kennedy. They fight a bit, not knowing that it's each other. And then they have an RE6 moment like, oh hey, I didn't realize the person I was fighting is actually my friend.
It's so dumb.
Leon?
Well, what do you know? Jill Valentine.
This is actually the first time we've ever seen Jill and Leon together, and it was
Yeah.
well worth the wait.
It's
These two
very
have
cool,
amazing
honestly.
chemistry. They're really fun to watch, and I really hope to team up again in the future. And here we properly meet Water Liquor. This scene is actually pretty nerve-wracking. And then the tension is instantly broken because Leon kicks him in the face, which causes an action scene against a horde of liquor.
Okay, I think you kind of hid a little bit of what actually happened there. That liquor was getting fresh with my girl, so Leon had to show him what's what. All right.
Back to the Redfields. They're talking to Sam Drake when they each get pricked on the neck by something, knocking them out, and Sam Drake is taken by Maria. Leon and Jill figure out how people have been infected without being bitten, and they've been infected by biodrones. And right at this point, the villain reveals himself.
Well, you're innocent Jill Valentine and Leon S. Kennedy.
Well, if it isn't, whoever you are.
He tells them to meet him at the main prison block, threatening them with Claire and Chris's lives. Upon arriving, they find Chris and Claire locked up and weak. The lights shoot on and Blake reveals himself.
This whole part
injecting them with
felt
the virus. He
too
goes
long.
on to be like, my virus will infect everyone in the world. Mwahaha. He goes on to explain his motive.
BSAA, DSO,
I will say one thing I do like about him though is that he wants to like use the bioweapons to take down everything basically. Like Umbrella fucked him up, so why doesn't every company just fucking burn? Why doesn't everybody that isn't picked by me, I guess, burn down or whatever? And you know, I can relate. I can appreciate it.
Aerosave. You still think you're fighting evil syndicates like Umbrella, the huge corporations and the corrupt execs that run them. The ones getting big fat bonuses for maintaining the status quo. That's who you work for, who you really protect. And the innocent will continue to suffer as long as you do. You're nothing more than pawns. Suckers.
Here he is speaking from experience. Blake is the soldier that watched his team turn into monsters. Blake is the person that was ordered to kill his team. Blake is the person who had to kill his best friend to survive. All of that not for himself, but for Umbrella. He's sick of corrupt corporations owning the world. And in his mind, the only way to fix it is him deciding who lives and who dies. But he specifically didn't infect Jill. This is a part that I really don't get. He wants Jill
Come on, she's best girl. He knows it. You know it. Everybody knows it.
to shoot Claire before she turns into a zombie and rips apart Sam Drake, so that she can know what he went through. But I don't understand why specifically Jill. She's been through just as much trauma as every other character. I don't know why they pretend that she doesn't know that kind of pain, but whatever.
Well, I don't know why he pretends none of them do, because they've been through a lot of shit. All of them. But you know what would have been kind of interesting too, is that we know Jill has been infected with the virus, and she has the virus in her, like canonically or whatever. I'm sure they all probably have traces of it at this point from bites or whatever they've gone through. Well, especially now because they've literally been infected with it. But they could have just like made up a reason that he tried to infect Jill and it didn't take or whatever because there's a stronger strain in her body as it I also don't know why they didn't just kind of hand wave it off with something that canonically makes sense anyway, because they could have. Instead they make it weird where he's like, well, I'm not going to infect you. Why? I don't understand this reasoning either.
Obviously Jill refuses, and Blake ends up shooting Sam Drake. Then Leon decides to throw a flashbang. I don't know why he decides to do that now and not earlier. Maybe Leon forgot he had it. The biodrones start hatching, but Sam Drake gives Claire a way to destroy him. Completely forgot to mention, but Sam Drake is the one that built the biodrones. Jill finds Rebecca, who managed to make a vaccine. So yeah, no worries, problem solved.
Rebecca looks weird to me. Did they just like use a child's model and like a giant head or something? I had this problem with her in Vendetta as well, actually. There's something that just doesn't seem right about her stance or something in these, and that continues on in this movie.
Yippee. After a quick recovery, Leon goes up to a control room and meets Maria, who wants to kill him for killing her father, even though in my opinion Ares killed her father, but whatever. So yeah, obviously they fight. She steps on Leon a bit for some reason, and Leon kills her in such an out of character.
Step on me,
way.
mommy. It's
Because
really
it's a Resident
funny.
Evil movie. Blake turns himself into a giant monster. So there's this epic Avengers battle where they all
Fuck
team up
yeah.
to take him down. I
Fuck
really
yeah.
like this fight. It takes
Yeah.
place in an armory, so they just use a bunch of over-the-top weapons. There's a lot of great banter between the characters.
That thing doesn't want to die.
He's a tough cookie, all right.
This scene is just pure fan.
You know, Chris says that thing just doesn't want to die when they use the RE1 rocket launcher. That it's a big deal. Actually, they use a bunch of different RPGs and stuff. And you know it's a big deal for a Resident Evil thing if it doesn't die from being hit with the rocket launcher. You know it's going to take some finessing.
Servers. Claire and Rebecca managed to take out the nano drones after a really long fight and a ton of callbacks and references. Jill
Yeah.
leads Blake underwater, and they take him out with a good old rocket launcher, dropping a door on him. And here is where the movie ends. I really like this movie. Like every Resident Evil movie, it's kind of dumb and has a lot of plot holes, but it's really fun to watch, and it's amazing to finally
Yeah.
see a continuation of Jill Valentine's character. And if
True.
somehow you made it through this whole video without seeing the movie, I 100% recommend it if you're a Resident Evil fan. I'll leave links to buy it or rent it in the description below. And if I had to give this movie a rank, I'd give it 7 out of 10. A fun movie to watch and turn your mind off if you're a Resident Evil fan.
Only a
But
7?
that does it for
Okay.
me. What did you think?
Okay, that's fair. Honestly, I think I give it an 8. And that's really just because, like, I'm such a huge Resident Evil fan and a Jill fan that, like, you would have had to have, like really fucked up for me to do under a 5 on this, I think. Like, you would have had to really mess this shit up. So, yeah, no, I think the movie's absolutely fantastic. It's just a love letter to fans, and seeing the fact that, like, they knew what they were doing. The fact that the final fight is set in an armory where they can go through every single weapon that's been used in the franchise at some point, down to, like, Jill using a fucking, like, kind of railgun sort of thing. The, like, I don't even remember what it was, that, like, giant electrical gun or whatever that she had to plug in. It wasn't, like, fully like the railgun from RE3, but it was basically that. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny that the rocket launcher also doesn't kill this. Like, it feels weird having an RE villain not die from a rocket launcher directly, but from, like, the door closing on it, like some Rancor action or whatever. But I guess it makes some sort of sense. I guess theoretically also we could say it was the biodrones killing it or whatever, because that's kind of like what happened. So maybe it was weaker at this point, which just leads me to believe, like, would this thing have actually died at all if not for that? Like, how the hell would they have stopped this thing? I don't know. Anyways, yes, Best Girl is back. And, again, another top tier Resident Evil content from Volsky. But, that's about it. See ya.